Right, welcome to our latest stream. We are showing the Newbury Velo road race today. Welcome, Jordan. How are you doing today?
I'm very well, Rob. How are you? It's
Good,
nice to be back, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, we had a busy race yesterday, didn't we?
Yes, yeah, and Friday too. So it's and Thursday, in fact. So it's been a good 4 days, keeping busy.
So the riders, they've gone over the first hill. They're still in one big group, our riders all together, which is good. There you go. You see Cam and Stu keeping together.
Yeah, so that's the hill of Titans Grove, which is 2.6 kilometres average, at 2.6 kilometres long at 2.2% average. So certainly something to get the legs nice and warm.
We're following Stu as he's sitting 36th in the group, according to Zwift. With an aero boost there.
Aero boost. Well, there's a lot of hissers in this race. I'm just going through the start list now, and we are all very nicely in the front group, I believe.
Yeah, everyone's sticking together. We also got Paul Renshaw. We haven't got video for him today, but he's racing in the Bs.
Well, he knew what was coming. He didn't want everybody seeing his shiny head.
Now, of course, you work together, don't you? At Oxford Products.
Yes, we are indeed colleagues. Yeah, so it was nice to see the sponsors being represented on the jerseys. Everyone's although the jerseys are already open, which shows just how hard everybody's going early on, which isn't much of a surprise at the speeds of around 67, I just saw 68 kilometers an hour there. So everyone's working very hard, nice and early on, which is going to be a long, painful race for some of these guys. This speed carries on.
And I can bring in a map of what's to come on the route. So this is thanks to our friends at Zwift Insider. See the little blob moving around at the minute. That's in the middle of the volcano. That's a good feature you'll see if you're new to Zwift. That will be interesting to you. And that is not the start yet. So if I refresh, start.
Yeah.
Have you got the stream up, Jordan? So that's the Titans Grove, Fugo Flats rather. That's the first flat bit. They've done that bit already. And up Titans Grove, which is the KOM that you mentioned.
It's winding away back down the mountain. So ready for it's the volcano next, isn't it? Is the next climb?
Yeah, they climb up the top of the volcano and go through the volcano as well. It's an impressive sight, that volcano, I tell you.
Yeah, I'm sure it'd be. And I think the pace is going to be really quite quick up it too. Looking through the start list, there's quite a few A pluses, and the A race is looking very, very competitive there, which is what we're all racing in today.
Fantastic. They end up on the volcano KOM and then towards the Fugo Flats for the finish. Is that Stu in a little breakaway?
Looking at the Zwift power just now, I think he certainly was putting out enough power to break away from that group. So I wouldn't be at all surprised if it is him we see up there. No, I think I see daylight there. So nice early psychological game there. Try and get out of sight, out of mind, and it's a big thing in cycling. So hopefully that means he can get an early advantage and hopefully keep it that way.
See, Cam's sitting in at 7th in the front group, and Stu's just 7 seconds behind. So that will come together. Definitely.
Yeah. So, the way that the Zwift works, it's quite difficult to keep a consistent pace a lot of the time. So I'm sure that group is in there will work its way back in a few minutes' time, keeping a nice consistent power. Whilst the others, there might have been a little surge, which always happens in it. So yeah, it's not quite as easy to control the surges as it is on the road, where you just get out the saddle for a few seconds. So a lot more connectivity, shall we say, going on here.
Just gone to watch Cam now, so we're watching Cam at the front of the group.
And you have 20 kilometres nearly covered now. So that just goes to show 20 kilometres covered in just under 25 minutes. So the pace really has been very fast from the gun. And but the guys I can see in front of me on our Zoom chat, they're all looking pretty comfortable actually. Well, as comfortable as you can be, but so yeah, it's I think we're in quite a good place here. And
Cam's sitting in that front group, and he had a good result. Was it yesterday or 2 days ago? 2 days ago.
Friday night. It was the new Velo Criterium, I think it was.
Yeah. Just bringing in the results from Zwift Power, the Newbury Velo Crit, which showing us yesterday. Refreshed it. So James Hodges came first, and he's an A+. And Cam came fourth, first of the A's. So he had a really good result there, didn't he?
He did, and we had Mac was just behind him, and then we had Simon Collins, Psycho. He was just a bit further behind that, wasn't he?
That's right. Psycho managed to finish 8th in the B's, and Kyle 17th. And Mac was just behind him 10, and you see he's actually catted up. He's gone up to A+, Mac Militia. 13 years old, that is brilliant.
Yeah, it's got to be one of the highest rated Zwifters under 15, certainly. I don't know many 13-year-olds who are racing A+. But it goes to show what a great future he can have, and probably will have. And particularly as that course here, it was a very technical course, the Dolphin track, I think it's called, with the cobble climb every lap and lots of technical tight corners, which meant that a lot of people were surging quite often. And you also had the little rollers towards the finish line, so it was not an easy crit course. So to get good results shows to show the strength and depth we've got in the team. And we're going to try and display that again today.
Yep, there'll be a few of us hoping for good results. Here we got Cam and Stu racing in the Cat A's along with Kyle as well. And then Paul Renshaw that we don't have his feed for, unfortunately. Maybe another time.
Yeah. You know, I considering I think where he's racing today, I'm not entirely sure they've discovered the internet yet. So he's well, obviously he's discovered the internet because he's got his Zwift thing, but the whole Zoom thing isn't quite there for him yet, I think.
He's out in the sticks, is he?
Well, yeah, he likes to think of himself as the third Earl of Blenheim, because you can see Blenheim Palace from his car.
Oh, very nice. As they just passed the Zwift KOM banner, top time up there is 1 minute 40, and you see Cam's managed 1 minute 43. So keeping up there, smashing it. 4.3 watts per kilogram, still going downhill now. Keep up and popping a aero, a transit van power up there to make sure he can stay in the front group.
Which is, and I think power ups today are going to be very important on this course because you want to try and conserve energy at the same time as whilst you're in the group, but at the same time as trying to really maximise the power ups and the climbs. And I think that's where, looking at the amount of climbing where the groups are going to come, be separated even. So it's going to be really interesting to see what tactics people have with their power-ups, whether people are going to try and save them up as much as possible, or they're just going to use them as they get them.
Yeah, I think Mac mentioned on Friday that he could have done with saving his aero power up. He still had a fantastic result, but could have been a little bit different on Zwift with that aero.
Yeah, I think some really interesting all the different tactics used. When you look at the even the pros racing, all these power ups and the way of racing is really constantly evolving. It's not quite as simple as racing on the road. Whilst in a road race like this, with this amount of climbing in, which is something that does happen on British roads. I think I'm trying to think what the race is now. What we do in the Oxford road races, if it's much climbing in, and it's the way you'd be racing this on the road would be slightly different to how you do be racing this on Zwift. You'd be trying to sit in the pack a bit more, or you may be doing more turns because you'd be able to communicate a lot more what you're doing. There'd be probably a little bit more teamwork. So we probably would have sent somebody off on an early breakaway, whilst on Zwift that's not, particularly at the speeds they go in the power output they've been going at, that's not possible unless you've got incredible legs, which I think will be something that we'll show people later on today, just how good our legs are. I think we're going to sit in and maximise the draft effect you get on Zwift, and we'll wait for the bigger climbs at the end.
That's right, that volcano climb. They're not particularly massive climbs, are they? But that is the biggest one, is the volcano climb coming up to.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be, particularly as they've gone so hard from the gun here, getting a rhythm up the climbs, because the climb is not short enough really to just smash up it. I think you've got to find a good climbing rhythm very quickly and hold a high power all the way to the top of the climb, and then actually over the climb as well, because I think that's normally where a lot of attacks goes, where as they get to the top of the climb. The last 500 meters of the climb is often where the moves stick go.
Well, we've got a message from David O'Toole saying, "Go Reese." I'm not sure who Reese is. If you could tell us his full name as he appears in Zwift, we might be able to feature him a bit better.
Birth names probably aren't the best thing to because there's a lot of riders in this race actually. I think it's 170 riders, isn't it?
170 riders, and Cam's sitting in 24th at the.
So, not that I can probably quickly count that, but yeah, there's certainly a lot of riders today. So it's and there's a lot of names from all over the world, which goes to show just how popular this race series is at the moment, because I'm seeing names from Australia, Spain, Holland, Japan. I think that might be Moldova, and of course you've got us Brits and even some Welsh people. So it's a truly international field for this Newbury Velo road race today.
Yes, it certainly is, and yeah, it's Reese Howells we're looking for. We shall look out for him. Last time I refreshed, he was sitting in 26th, part of Richardson's trek.
Ah, yes, a local team, well, relatively local team to us, aren't they? In the Cotswolds, I think, Richardson's trek.
Yeah, Reese is sitting at 14th at the minute. At the front is Gavin Jones from Rowan King, so big hitters in this race.
Yeah, I think there's even a Freddie Ovet from Israel Startup Nation in it. So there certainly is a lot of powerful riders in this from all over the world who have been racing quite prestigiously.
Yeah, good shout. Another Richardson Trek. He's got an ally in James Jenkins up there from Richardson Trek, sitting at 7th. Oliver Ashley joins the stream on YouTube and says, "Great work, Vector." And Hedgie says, "Great work, lads. Keep going." London Dynamo also featured. A big team.
Yeah, very famous team, the London Dynamos. Is it they do an endurance ride, don't they? The London Dynamo. I think where it starts and finishes now. There's mixing it with the famous British clubs and even the Pro Tour. Yeah, even the Pro Tour team. So. Yeah,
or are they mixing it with us, Jordan?
Well, yes, I think they are.
Yeah, we've mentioned before, haven't we, how as the riders just go up towards the volcano now, you'll see they go through the volcano, and when I'm riding, I actually feel a bit warmer when I'm looking. I don't know about you, John.
Well, I try and avoid hills whenever possible, so.
As the riders go through the volcano with lava spilling around them, it certainly gives that impression that I'm getting hotter. But yes, certainly going uphill. And this is the biggest hill in the race.
Yes. So I'm seeing watts around 400 watts here for Cam, which is nearly around 6 watts per kilo. So he's putting out 6 times power. So his power output is 6 times his weight currently, which is no mean feat. So if you weighed 100 kilos, you'd have put out 600 watts. Is probably the easiest way to explain that, which is not an easy thing to do, putting out that level of power.
And that's pushing him towards the front of this group. We'd like him to sit in a bit more, but no, he knows what he's doing, doesn't he, Cam?
Yeah, he's got himself a good rhythm here, around 90 RPM. So he's pedaling. So the pedals are going around 90 times a minute, which is a good cadence at this early stage, because you don't need having too low a cadence, because we build an lactic acid in the legs quite quickly. So it's good that he's got this rhythm, and I'm sure on the descent he'll sit in a bit more. Yeah, it certainly does look hot in there.
Let's bring in Zwift, our friends at Zwift Power, bringing in the live current standings. Cam's sitting at 4th, and Reese Howell's at 15th. Stuart's unfortunately about 1 minute 24 behind the front group.
But it's still early days. Yep, still got is it 40 kilometers to go in this race.
Yeah, and Rennie's sitting. Paul Renshaw's at 61. Sort of in the front pack of the Bs, I'd say. Again, it's difficult to say. With some people will enter Bs when they're actually As, won't they? But Zwift Power will sort that out at the end of the day.
Yeah, and you do get a few people who are putting out 800 watts, and they apparently only weigh 50 kilos. So, yeah, there's a few discrepancies that happen with Zwift, but that is going to happen when you've got lots of different setups on lots of different connectivities all around the world, racing on the same platform at the same time. So it's a really good way to unite tour. Especially in this time when we can't be riding abroad like we would, but it makes us feel a bit more normal getting out racing bikes.
Definitely, you miss the competitive element, don't you? And it wouldn't be cycling without a bit of controversy, would it?
No. all going up a volcano, as I think was supposed to happen in the Giro today. I think they were supposed to go at Mount Etna.
Oh really? Wasn't aware of that. So we're emulating it now. If you're missing the Giro, come and watch our stream. That's what we'll do.
Yeah, and I could go on about wine and cheese like Carlton Kirby, or I could tell you about the race. I can make even for more at home. Unfortunately, I don't remember lots of my Italian, so I can't make you feel bad at home. But I could put on some pink.
I'm sure it's better than my English, actually, or Italian.
Well, it's Sardinian dialect, so I'm not really sure it's even Italian.
Okay, rub it in.
Is that them? You got to see a bit of landscape there. Is that snow at the top of that volcano? Is that how high you've now climbed?
That's no, in the distance is going to be the Alp.
Right. Oh, the Alp. So that's the final climb today, isn't it?
No, we don't go up the Alp today.
That's the infamous Alp du Zwift, is it?
I believe so. Yeah. They haven't got my compass out, so it looks high enough to be the Alp.
Which is isn't that a lot of where people have been doing their isolation Everest challenges? The Alp du Zwift.
Yeah, it's a complete reenactment of the Alp de Huez. Yeah, people have been doing the Everests up there, so 8 times up it to be the distance of elevation of Everest, rather than me.
Yes, well, I've James Scrivener, who rides the team. He's Everested a couple of times. He did it on a hill in Berkshire. I can't remember what the hill was called. He did it on, but I know there was the talk of doing Streatley at one point, which is one of the quite famous hills in around where we are in Berkshire, Oxfordshire, which is I think it peaks at 25%. So
yes, I've lost many a garment down that hill. Not putting it in my pocket properly on the ascent.
I've ended up falling on my back on that once before.
Yeah. Let's stay away from hills, Jordan, shall we?
Yeah, but I've now got up it a few times. It turns out losing weight does help. So if there's any advice we can give about people who want to get better at climbing, probably our most useful advice is not be as heavy. Other than that, I think we're pretty useless at it. Although you're quite good in the mountains.
I did enjoy when we were at Mallorca. I went and did a few reps of the local climb. I really enjoyed it, but then I was about 7 kilograms lighter than I am now, and a hell of a lot fitter. So I'm finding it more difficult. I did 4 laps of Box Hill yesterday. It was a big struggle. Getting back to it.
Well, that's again one of the good things about Zwift, isn't it? Is that whilst the roads out here are pretty empty, they're getting busier. When you're on Zwift, you still have that I guess the carrot to chase up, so it makes you put a little bit more effort.
It certainly does. There was groups. I dropped off the first group, but there was a group behind me that I stayed with, and I stayed with on the flats, and then another group. And yeah, there's definitely that motivation out on Zwift that I wouldn't have sitting at just bars and graphs. Okay.
Yes, yeah. It's just, I think with this indoor training, it's a real mix of what people are doing. Because I'm doing lots of different things, just trying to enjoy riding my bike. Like yesterday, I just went on the road for 2 hours. I didn't even actually have my computer on. Whilst you've got others who are just working at specific watts per kilo, and that's really good about indoor training and just riding your bike in general on Zwift. And the pace is steadied somewhat. Would you agree there, Rob?
Yeah, definitely. They're just going up the volcano KOM, which I just bring in from Zwift Inside. It's 3.8 kilometers at 3.2%. So You'll see the lava seeping down the sides there, but that's their biggest climb, and they'll come down that towards Titan's Grove, and Zwift KOM is the Zwift KOM reverse is the last climb of the day. So just approaching, perhaps just gone past 30 kilometers, and
yeah. So we're about halfway through now, aren't we?
that's right. So the top of the KOM, Volcano KOM, will be about halfway through, and we'll say it's all downhill from there, but it's not quite, is it?
Yeah. And I'll write down when the finish is, exactly, so that we don't miss this today.
Can we set an alarm? Maybe we set an alarm.
Yeah, because and the riders will warn us when they're about to finish, rather than just rapidly sprinting whilst we're talking about something else.
As the riders go across the bridge there, you'll notice that the benefits of a virtual world is that you don't need to spend a lot on your maintenance, guardrails and stuff to host a race. Adds to the atmosphere of.
Yes, I think the lava and the volcano itself wouldn't quite pass the extreme weather protocols that are in place in professional cycling, or in fact are racing. So
maybe there's a sideline for Oxford products there, some lava resistant cycle gear, lycra perhaps.
well, we've been working a lot of technology on jeans for motorcycles, so that if you fall off, so you can actually have a jeans that are safe to wear on the bike and off the bike without having all the extra weight Kevlar. So I'm sure it's something we can look into.
There are some companies out there making indoor specific cycling clothing and stuff like that. I'm not sure I buy the gains myself, but
well, I think it depends on what what your physique is like, and I can't remember in your perspiration levels. I know that I tend to just wear just bib shorts, and because I don't see the point in having anything else on. I've got no windows in my garage, so nobody can see.
Likewise, as they crest the KOM, it's getting a bit strung out at the top there, but that will come back together when they go downhill. Cam's in the hurt locker, but he's staying with the front group. So.
Yeah, there's a lot of but you're staying in there. There's no gaps opening up, so it won't be. I don't think it's too bad. I think it will all come back together on the descent. There's an awful long way to go. We've still got well over 45 minutes of racing to go, so there may be a small selection here, but I think it's all going to come back together. And is that so? There's that top 50 in the top 50 over the climb there, Cam? Is that
yeah,
how we were
over.
saying? So there.
Yeah, he was 20 something. Cam was over that climb.
Yeah. So considering the level of A pluses in here, I think he's right up there, mixing it the front of the A race.
You're right, and I've just seen that Stu's only 7 seconds behind now, so he's definitely back up. Cam's going downhill and putting 600 watts out, so you can't stop pedalling downhill completely. You've got to keep the momentum going, because there will be some people that pedal all the way down.
Okay, so we're just going down the descent here. I think
just going back through the volcano, Jordan.
Just going back to the volcano, right? Sorry about that. My internet had a bit of a glitch there, and everyone stopped, and I couldn't hear anything.
No, you're good here, mate.
Okay,
Doing
good,
well.
good. I'm still here. Good.
So Cam was 20th at the KO.
Fantastic. So he's. I think that puts him in the top 5 of the A race there, looking at the names. So I'm comparing that to Zwift Power just now. So we're in a very good position here with Cam, and as are the rest of the guys. I don't know. Is Stu just in the group behind this?
Yeah, there's a group behind that are just 2 minutes and 10 seconds behind, and he's in that group.
And then Paul Renshaw's just a bit behind that. Any idea where Kyle's gone?
That's he's dropped off the stream, so I'm guessing he's
Off the stream.
Mechanical.
Well, punctures can happen to anybody. I did see a video the other day of somebody blowing out their front wheel whilst on turbo, which I think is quite. They're sprinting so hard. I think it's quite scary.
That's why I don't put out the watts I do, just in case that happens.
Yeah. My turbo doesn't go up to that. So,
It comes sitting at 13th. I think there's a group 10 seconds ahead, and then his group are slightly bigger, so I'm sure they'll come together.
Yeah, looking at Cam just now, he's not panicking. He's staying consistent. He's got his heart rate down a bit, so he's trying to recover a little bit more. It's really good, and he's sitting in nicely, going around 3 and a bit watts per kilo. So I think this group's going to come back together. And there's a couple of little rises where I think there also is an opportunity if it doesn't for him to possibly bridge across. So it's looking pretty good for Vets in this race.
Yeah, Cameron's a bit of a breather there, but you don't, as I say before, you can't completely stop pedalling. You've got to keep the momentum up, because there will be people that pedal and create a bit of a gap. So he's doing well, stay in a bunch there. They'll all want to stay in a bunch, won't they, to benefit from the aero gains behind each other.
Yeah, and I haven't seen anybody use many power-ups in the descent, so I think everyone's using the same idea of just sitting in and trying to recover.
And save the power-ups for the finish, perhaps. I'm not. Oh, I think they probably get one up the Zwift KOM reverse as well. So, but maybe not Titan's Grove. I'm not 100% sure. But if they've got an aero, they might decide to keep it for 3 or 4 banners. To make sure they've got it for the end. I think there's a sprint on.
Yeah, I'll be intrigued to see whether it is a bunch sprint in just over 29 kilometers time, or whether it's or whether there is a group that gets away on the reverse climb and stays away.
That's a good shout. We'll see.
So I think as we've got a little bit of a lull in the action, I think we should probably say a shout out to everybody watching. So thank you everybody watching who's watched all the other streams so far. Actually, I know we've had good fun commentating on it, so hopefully everyone's enjoyed the coverage. And I think we've also got to thank our wonderful sponsors as well during this time, who are staying with us and who've been wonderful at the start of the year. And it's a real shame that we're not representing them on the road. I think today would have been around the Yorrell today. Am I right in thinking that? So so huge thanks goes to Aston Martin Birmingham, Love Beer Brewery, Clear Group, Oxford Products, R&R, Athlete Centre, and I hopefully haven't missed one there.
No, that's spot on. And don't forget, if you want to engage with us, follow us on our social media and engage with our stream on YouTube and Twitch. Give us a follow, and we're hoping to bring you more races, particularly focusing on local cycle teams from around Oxfordshire and slightly into Berkshire with New Velo as well.
Yes, so we want to thank for putting on these races, and it's been really good to work with them and to go and do some good racing. It's been good fun, and it's a series that I think is going to be continuing for quite a while. I think it's going to be a good couple of months before we're back racing at the earliest. So good that we have a way to race and show our red, white, and black colours.
Yeah, Cam in particular was saying how important the competitive element is to his training. In our race analysis on our last stream, you can look at that on YouTube and Twitch. It's saved for a few days, so if you want to, speaks very well about how important the competitive element is to his training.
Yeah, and it's I think, and you can definitely see the improvements that the team has made. I remember when we were looking through the through some of our discussions that we had at the start of lockdown on how we were going to keep competing at something, and looking at what the power and how people were using power ups and everything. That's really evolved. So it's I think the racing during the winter, because that's normally when Zwift racing is very, very competitive. It's good that's that same has been applied to the summer, our spring summer, which of course is the southern hemisphere autumn winter. So it's going to be really intriguing to see just how competitive the 2021 national championships in e-racing is going to be, and I'm quite looking forward to that. Actually, I think it's going to be good racing because everyone's had a chance to really spend a lot of time on Zwift and learn how to really maximise the power-ups, how to ride it, and all the courses. So I think e-racing is going to really grow into the future.
It definitely is doing well. The trainers are really rare now because everyone's trying to buy them up. It's been a big thing for a little while, Zwift, and it's really peaked now, and everyone's got an option up to Zwift. The front group did come together. Cam's still leading that pace line of in the third and fourth. Big group. So it's an exciting race as we go across the beachfront, and the start-finish banner, the usual start-finish banner, at the front of Watopia.
Yeah, it's certainly if there was a place like this in real life, it'd be pretty amazing, wouldn't it? I guess the only place you could sort of get something like that would be California or parts of it. With the volcano and then the beach side, and with some nice small climbs as well. So is that the so we start the hilly loop now, right? Okay. So is this where the race finishes in 45 kilometers in 25 kilometers time?
It doesn't actually. It goes back towards the Fuego Flats for a different finish banner.
Right. I think this may be the one course I haven't actually seen before. So
no, it's a long one. So they're going to go up towards Titan's Grove reverse first, and then the reverse KOM, and then back towards the flats where the race started.
So it's yeah, it'd be an amazing course to recreate in real life, wouldn't it? But I think it would take quite a lot of policing, so I don't think we'd have many riders available to actually race. Maybe I'd end up having to pin on a number and get dropped on the first hill like most races we do.
Yeah, you would certainly need less stewards in Zwift. It's great. And Rob Turpin, thank you for joining the stream on YouTube. Says, morning guys, good effort, keep going. Yep, Cam's definitely up there, doing well.
Doing very well, and looking quite comfortable actually. So I think we've got high hopes for how we're going to do today. Still right, they're definitely up there in the A's, if not beating quite a few day pluses. And he's got his heart rate down now, which is good because it was getting it was in the 180s for quite a long time. So he'd be right on his anaerobic, he'd be in his anaerobic threshold at that point. So he wouldn't be using. So rather than he won't be using oxygen, we're using oxygen very efficiently, but it wouldn't be an aerobic effort. So an aerobic effort is more comfortable, and an anaerobic effort is right at that point where you're having to breathe in a lot more oxygen, and your muscles start feeling lactic acid. So he's under that threshold now, back into more aerobic. So he'll be resting up, ready for the reverse climb later on, I think.
Yeah, so upcoming is Titans Grove reverse is a few kilometres you get there, but that's only 0.9 kilometres and 4% average. And then you've got the reverse climb, which is 6% average and also 0.9 kilometres. Fair bit of rolling landscape to go before we get to either of those points of interest.
Yeah, but even so, the pace is still at around 40 kilometres an hour, to 25 miles an hour there, which is not an easy thing to hold. Particularly is that you're not getting the full draft effect that you do on the road. So the pro races normally average around 25, 27 miles an hour across most of the stages. Then they're in a big peloton where if you're in the middle of that peloton, you're barely pedaling for a lot of it, which is, as we know from some of our racing exploits last year, it's a nice feeling being in that pack and going really fast and not having to put out as much power as you would at the front.
It certainly is, although on Dalton Barracks the wind soon cuts that up, doesn't it? It's going to bring in a Zwift power. 5 updates now. The Kamsiat sitting at second on that list. Freddie over at 10th. And not an A+, that's interesting. I'm sure that'll change at the end of this race. Reese Howell sitting at 15th from Richardson's Trek. And that's a big group of 20, all in that front group.
And there's certainly some...
And Stu sitting at 33rd at 2 minutes and 13. But yeah, there's some hitters up there. I don't know if you can... what any names you recognise from your handing out awards at Oxford Products?
Well, it's certainly not the Australians or the Japanese. It's a bit far. I think it's a bit far for them to go to race the 7XC and around the West Sussex Cross. But it has been done before. I've seen the Tour of Cambridgeshire. There was a lot of people that come all over the world to race that to try and qualify for the Amateur World Championships. So
okay.
I'm sure at some point there might be a name that I'll recognise from those areas. But it's really interesting to see that people from all over the world want to interact with this race series, and I think it goes to show what a great job Newbury Velo have done in putting on this racing. It's well structured. They have a time trial Wednesday, a crit race Friday, and then a road race on a Sunday morning. Is what I believe is the series. Am I right there, Rob?
Yeah, I'm just trying to find it on there just to make sure we got it completely right.
Apologies to them if I've missed one.
Yeah, so Wednesday Newbury Velo midweek TT, Friday Newbury Velo Crit at 19:35, and Saturday is Newbury Velo Weekend be at 10 AM. And of course the road race at 10 AM, Jordan. Yeah, 10 AM on Sundays.
Yeah. So actually, there's almost a weekly stage race going on there.
That's right.
It reminds a little bit of the Tour of Sussex, which is an amateur race that would have been happening, I think, at the next bank holiday, which is a crit race and has time trials, a team time trial, and then some road races as well. And we had a pretty good result with one of our riders in that last year. Yes, they really have got a good series set up, and it'd be really good if it can continue all the way through the year and into particularly into the winter. I think the winter is going to be, with all the miles everyone's putting in now, when it comes to, and hopefully we will be able to get out and for, I think, time trials maybe is where they're looking to start off the season. So that'd be good news for Paul Renshaw and a few of the other TT guys we've got in the team. I might even have got one of the flat ones. So with all that time trialing that might happen in the summer, and the hill climbs into the winter. I think the winter racing is going to be very competitive for the endurance that people are doing now. Now that we've got unlimited exercise, I think we see people putting in some long distance rides. So it'll be really, really interesting just what level e-racing reaches. And I think the UK is going to do really well in it. I wouldn't be at all surprised if you end up seeing a proper British e-racing series rode by all the pros. It's normally competing by the continent, by the UK racers with the odd World Tour rider racing in it. But I think now that everyone's been using Zwift, I know Mark Cavendish and Grant Thomas, to name two of the big British stars, have been using Zwift a lot, as well as some Grand Tour winners. So it'll be really interesting to see whether they keep that up this winter.
Yeah, definitely. There's been also Alex Dowsett's big on YouTube as well. He's been doing a lot of videos about it.
That's the name I was trying to think of. Yeah, Alex Dowsett. He's and his partner will quite have a very good, really interesting YouTube channel, and he provides a lot of tips actually on racing. He's an excellent time trialist, one of the best in the world, a former hour record holder. So he's to call him a hitter is quite an understatement, actually.
Even racing at elevation, is altitude. He's still getting some. It's still engaging with Zwift, which is difficult. I think that's good of him, because he's definitely at a disadvantage at Zwift, and obviously has a reputation for being a good cyclist, and a bit difficult at altitude, isn't it? To keep up with those at Zwift, those of us that are not at altitude.
Yes, yeah. He's something like 2,000 meters, isn't he? So that's a real. So he's getting a lot less oxygen into his system, and well, normally it's an advantage being at altitude because the air is thinner, but not when you're trying to get as much air into your lungs whilst you're racing on land.
That's right. As we see Cam just going up the penultimate hill there.
Yeah, it's still a nice position there. It's stretching out, so I think it's looking at his face, he's in a bit of in the hurt locker for a few seconds here, but he's still with the group, and he's keeping a nice even pace, so he should stay with them there. And he's moving back up the group now, which is really important to do, because you don't want to be at the back of the group when it splits. And I'm not entirely sure what view he'll have on his screen at home. So, because when you're on the road, if you're at the back of the group, you can't see what goes off the front. You can only really see 5 wheels in front of you. So that's why. So even on Zwift, positioning is still important.
That's right. So they've just gone up the Titans Grove reverse. Cam's going down it. I think Stu's going up still a little bit. But, that's the penultimate climb before the reverse KOM. James Ashcroft up there in first, but a bunch. It will all come together. Cam 7 seconds behind. That'll come together. Sitting in 13th again.
Yeah, I think we're in for a very fast finish. We've only got 15 kilometres left now in this just under 70 kilometre race. So probably looking at the speeds they're going, another 20 minutes or so of effort. And it's been a very frenetic race. And, so very well positioned there for Cam. As you go through more of a wooded section, so and it looks like it's quite rolling here. So be intriguing to see whether everyone stays together or whether anyone tries to, possibly one of the bigger riders, so who'll be putting up less watts per kilo potentially uphill, might have a little go before they get to the climb, get a bit of a gap. Or whether maybe more of a better climber who goes nice and early on the climb itself.
Yep. So we'll stick with Cam here because being at the pointy end of the race, so we'll be able to see what goes ahead of him. If it does, or if maybe he might fancy a breakaway up the hill.
It wouldn't surprise me. He does love an attack, and he does love a little surge now and then. So I think he'll definitely be up there when the road starts going upwards. I think it's going for a little descent now at the moment. I see a lovely little lake there, and the weather seems absolutely perfect for bike racing. I wish that was the case all the time in the UK, but alas, it's a very grey day today. But it's not on Zwift.
Every time I go to the London events, it starts raining at some point. It's quite realistic, Zwift.
Okay, I guess well. But you don't have the lethal combination of wet roads and London road furniture to deal with, which is one of the perks of Zwift. I have seen somebody crash on Zwift, but that was mainly due to user error rather than anything else.
I bet that hurt more than a crash on the road.
Yeah, I don't think they quite clipped in their rear wheel. So when they went to sprints, the bike toppled off the turbo. And of course, there's some people that do this on rollers, which is where you've got you're literally riding the bike, and you have to ride quite hard on it to just keep it upright, because you've got one is it dynamo? Is that the equivalent of in a car world? Where it's got the wheel turning, and it counteracts the front wheel is turning and the rear wheel turning. So
that's right. And it's, you got a balance on them, haven't you? You're not strapped in like a turbo train. And that's actually how I started off on Zwift, just with a speed sensor, beta version of Zwift when it first came out in rollers, and that is all you need to start on Zwift. You won't be able to be ranked in races with that sort of setup. You need a power meter to get going in races properly, fairly, but you can certainly get some motivation, get some going up the hills and stuff like that. It's easy to get started.
Well, it's amazing the level of smart trainers now and how far they've come in the few years they were a thing. I remember when I started racing, you had these turbos that would literally scream at you. The high-pitched noise they'd make, so you put the rear wheel in, you'd have your special tyre on the back wheel, and it would scream at you the harder you pushed, and you can never get the right resistance. And then now we have smart trainers that tell you your cadence, power, speed, and the resistance changes depending on courses or according to how you want it, which is just remarkable, really, how far that technology's come on and how far that's going to go in the future, particularly the Watt bikes and the Wahoo bike that's come out now. Exercise bikes are actually now looking almost backward in terms of their technology when you look at the smart trainers. Prehistoric would be a better word, wouldn't it? Prehistoric.
But it's all you need. All you need is a speed sensor. But you're right, they've come on loads. If you can get them in the shops, because they're really rare at the moment. Certainly recommend, if you're into cycling, get a turbo trainer for the winter months usually.
And that's the really good thing about Zwift. It is very accessible for all. Like you said, you just need a speed and cadence sensor. And I know that's how I started on Zwift too. Actually, since last year I've got a smart trainer. So. And it's amazing just to see everyone giving it a go. And I think now that we've had this big cycling boom, people riding indoors will make a big difference as well. I know there's a big push currently on better physical and mental health, and nothing makes my head feel better than going for a bike ride, whether it's indoors or outdoors. So it's hopefully we get more and more people on Zwift.
Indoors or outdoors, all under the sea, as we're riding on Zwift at the moment through the tunnel with all the wildlife around us.
Yeah, the Wombles would love it, underground and overground. Well, I wouldn't want to do it in a womble costume. I think that'd be you do get very hot when you're Zwifting, as you don't have the air resistance that you do on the road, so you would get very, very, very hot indeed.
Yeah, you would.
Yeah, no one has their jersey done up on as you can see on our stream, and that's because it's just been a very fast pace all the way through the race. As we're now going over 50 k's an hour, so it's you don't want to be wearing pretty much as little as possible to make sure you've got enough. And all these riders will have fans on them too, trying to keep them cool, but it's not quite the same as the air resistance you get on the road.
Certainly isn't. Quick look at the Zwift power again. Bring it into the stream.
Yeah, as we went to the last 10 kilometres here, so we're at the judgment end of the race before we get to that final climb. So really interesting to see who's pitting out what and who's where.
So Hamish Strachan at 1 hour 14 minutes, and Jack English, Yoshida Johnny, and Ak W in that front group. And Cam's just popped up to that front group because he saw we were looking at the standings clearly. So yeah, a big group of 19 riders now. That was 20, wasn't it? So someone's dropped out.
Yeah.
19 riders at the front of this group, and then 2 minutes 15 is a lone rider, and then 2 minutes 47 there's a group just behind that, including Stu Guff. So yeah, he's still got a chance to get into the top 20 there. Let's scroll down to see if Rennie's still riding. Yeah, Rennie's at 54th, 9 minutes 25 behind the front of the group. He's done 50 kilometres.
Yeah, so they're going very well so far. Good effort by everybody there, particularly this pace, and it's good to see everybody still going. I think the front group, particularly the one in Cam, that's going to be a real race of attrition now. So I think Stu's going to move up nicely. I think if he keeps going at his current pace, he's looking.
Yeah, it only takes a couple to drop off and then make his group a bit bigger, and they start catching, won't they?
Yeah, he looks like he's been out consistent, balanced there in front of me. So he's certainly in a very good spot there. It's whether or not there's going to be an attack as we approach this final climb. So I think it's going to be an interesting finale to this as we go. I think just under 7.5 kilometres to go now.
Yeah, just ticking over 60 kilometres, and still this group insist on staying together. They know the benefits of it, and I think we're going to have maybe someone's lining something up for the last KOM or bunch sprint at the end. It's going to be very exciting.
Yeah, and it's I'm really not sure what everyone's tactics are. It'd be really good to see what people do. I know I think there's power ups. So I see a few people using power ups now actually. So there might be a few people here trying to clip off the front of the race.
Yeah, keep an eye on who's using power ups now, because they might be struggling to keep up.
Yeah. We've got some fans there cheering us on as well. It sounds in the background. So yeah, we're gonna. There's certainly been a huge effort put out by a lot of people just then, and a few people they're resting whilst they use their power up. So some people have gone for the preserving energy, whilst others I think are going to go for a big attack. As my stream slowly refreshes.
Yeah, they're just approaching the KOM reverse climb. That's 0.9 kilometres at 6% average. So it's a bit of a lump, isn't it? So there is a chance for an attack there, and then it goes downhill quite quickly afterwards, a steeper downhill, before a flat finish. So there's a few different ways this could go.
Yeah, I know that if I was racing, my tactic would be here would be trying to use the lightweight one on the climb, and if I had an aero one, I'd probably save that sprint to the line in the last 500 metres. but whether or not people are going to do that, I don't know. But I know that Cam is riding quite consistently here, keeping a nice even power output and pace. He's looking quite comfortable there. So fingers crossed for a big finale in about 5 kilometers time.
As David joins us in the chat and says, good race, Reese Howes. He's currently sitting at 12th. He is having a good one. Averaging 350 watts at the moment.
Yeah, so if you are supporters of other teams, please do join us. So if you ride for other teams, we're happy to talk about each and every rider all around the world. Thanks to Zwift Power, we can see a lot of their details, so we can discuss what type of tactics they may be using in the race.
Yep, still they approach 1 hour 19 minutes or 1 hour 20 on the stream. But Zwift Power, there's still that group of 19 riders reserving energy at the moment. Cam's only doing 260 watts. I'm sure that hurts. There's a few good teams. Unfortunately, we've only got one rider up there, so Richardson and Streck might choose to work together. James Jenkins and Reese Howes from Richardson Streck. I'm sure Freddie Overt will have some friends that work with him, albeit not his teammates. Lots of people will want to ride with him, won't they?
Yes, a lot of people will probably end up leading him out, trying to prove a point. I know that happens quite sometimes in the E1-2 races. We see at Dalton Barracks, a rising star tries to get a jump on one of the bigger well-known riders and end up just leading them out. But I think on Zwift, it's not the easiest thing to lead out, as we see Cam really going for it here, over 400 watts putting out now, really going for it hard up the climb.
So although this climb averages at 6%, you see it went up to 9%, and the numbers get red when this gets steeper. So yeah, Freddie over at the front of the group there, leading everyone out, and Cam doing well, sticking with them. Some power ups are getting popped, but they're staying together.
Yeah, making a big attack here, which is where I did suspect people at the top of this climb would go for it as they got the descent afterwards. So it's quite hard to make much of a difference on the descent. So if you get a gap, it's likely that you'll keep the gap to the bottom of the descent. But Cam is getting right up towards the front of that group now, in the top somewhere in the top 10 there. I think he just needs to hold this now, try and keep this power consistent all the way over and through the top, and then I think sitting on the descent, Freddie Overt has proved that he's the strongest riders in that group, so I think it's only fair that he does the work for everybody else there.
Too right, because we're not paying Cam very much, are we? But Freddie will be getting a salary for doing it.
Yeah, Freddie is actually paid to race his bike, or certainly receives a remittance of some sort. Whilst we're not quite at the level to pay Cam yet, but if he keeps putting in these performances, I think we may have to ask for some more sponsorship money from somewhere to try and keep him with us.
He's certainly turning in the results, isn't he?
Well, yeah, and I think we've got a team of mix of talents. I think it's fair to say we've got some of us who can only sprint on flat courses. Then you've got guys like Cam who can do it all on every course. So we've really and the group's come back together now. Actually, I think the group of about 50. Is that 15 in that front group now? So there's been a bit of an attrition there. We've lost a few rides to the back of that. So now the group's come back together, I think there may be an opportunity on one of the rollers. I think there's one little roller just before the finish, looking at Zwift Power. So I think there could be an opportunity there for him to clip off the front if he's got the legs.
That's right, and we see from Zwift Power live stand-ins. Yeah, there wasn't any no one dropped off that group. There's still 19 together, within 1 second of each other. So Yes, full of hitters. Full of hitters. This.
Yeah, so I think that's going to come down to a bunch sprint now, and I think there are going to be a few people that might go for the for a lead out, but it may also be a case of that nobody wants to sprint too early, so it could end up being a really frenetic and fast sprint to the line in what's been a crazily fast race anyway. To have done 65 kilometres in just under 1 hour 25 minutes. It's no mean feat. That is pro level speeds there.
As we see, Cam got the 14th fastest time on that Zwift KOM.
Yeah, really rapid climb there.
And Hedgie joins us on the chat on YouTube, saying great racing, Cam, keep pushing and nice work, Stu. So keep going, lads, doing well.
And, am I right in thinking we've got just under 2 kilometres to go now? Oh. So we're going to try and not miss this finish.
It's a 70 kilometre race, so yes, 4 kilometres.
Right.
They'll be coming into the flat bit now, and we push for the line. So yeah.
Yeah. Okie dokie. So I think we are in for a sprint finish here. I think everyone's tried to knock 7 barrels out of each other as often as they could, and everyone stayed together. So the rate of attrition hasn't quite occurred to the level I thought it would. So we're going to be really, I think we're in a really good. I think Cam's in a really good position here. So I think if he sits in here, we're in for could get a good sprint. He had a good sprint the other day, but having looked at the peak output power of over 5 seconds of a lot of these guys, there's also some pretty good sprinters up here.
It's important now to get your heart rate down, isn't it? Ready for that sprint finish. You want to try and rest as much as you can before going hard.
Yeah, and looking at the heart rate there and power output of Cam at the moment, I think he's done a great job there of trying to get as much oxygen into his lungs as possible before he'll do a complete anaerobic effort for probably the last minute, as the pace quickens up, and then a full-on sprint for the line. But then you've also got to watch out for a Mathieu van der Poel sort of effort. There may be people from behind who come and end up out sprinting you. That has happened. Does happen occasionally. In Zwift racing, I remember watching one of the British series races last year on Zwift, where somebody thought they had a nice little gap and was pacing it, and having a bit of a cat and mouse of the sprint, and somebody came from behind and out sprinted them. So, but I don't think it's going to happen today. I think the group's too big and there's too many people there wanting to keep this bunch ahead.
So the advantage of Zwift is you can see people's power numbers to the right hand side, and when they start putting out extreme power, you'll see it all turn orange, blue orange. So it should give you a kick up the backside to be aware of those brakes. You see VT has just opened up a 3-second lead, but is this too early?
I think, I would probably say there's a chance it's too early. It's a real big time trial effort from there, I'd say. You'd be pushing to get away at this current. You need to be putting up probably around 6 watts per kilo, and not many pros can hold that for very long. So. Is that Jeff Ovet who's gone up there? So it's I myself would say he's gone too early, but he seems to be holding that gap. We've probably got just under 2 minutes of racing going to the end now, so he could be a pursuiter on the track. I don't know. So, but Cam's not panicking. He's keeping in there. So
I think he's
I-
amongst
I-
good company with Ovet in that group. I think they'll know what they're doing.
Yeah, and I think the sprint was probably going to catch them. He hasn't got a big enough gap there to hold it when the guys start sprinting. He's only got about a 3-second gap there, and they're going about 45 kilometers an hour. So when they're sprinting around 60, and the breakaways riders' legs will be absolutely burning already to try and get his way as we enter the final kilometre. So I think he might be reeled in here, but it'd be interesting to see whether he is or not. That gap doesn't seem to be coming down as quickly as I thought it would.
And now they start putting down those orange numbers as Rob Turpin joins the stream and says, "Nice work, Cam. Smash the sprint." Here they go.
Yeah, Cam's just got the saddle there to put a bit more pace in. So I think he might stay away now. I think he might be putting in a really good kick here, but the guys are reeling him in, and I think the finish is just round the corner. So, and Cam's nicely positioned there in that group. So I think Cam's set up for a big push to the line.
Definitely, he's leading that group out and putting 267 watts to stay there. So then he'll put the power down when he need to surge to the front at the right time. Has he got a power up? We'll see.
Well, yeah, I think the next now just around the corner would be a good time to possibly use it, get a jump start on everybody, and then try and hold that to the line. It might be an option. Go for a longer sprint
as the arrows get popped and they head towards the archway you see ahead of us. There the arrow's getting popped and
he's just going to catch him. They might catch the lead out guy. I think they're going to reel him in just for the finish.
And that's it. They did. Cam's looked like 5th on my screen there.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I think so that just reeled him in at the line. It was a really good effort from that group there to grab them back.
Just going to see if I can find Stu up the road.
That's so I definitely would say if he hasn't won the A race there, I'd actually be a little bit surprised. There was a lot of A pluses after that.
Fantastic result.
So yeah, he's gulping in the air there, trying to cool down a bit. Stu is not that far behind. There's a lot of small groups on the road, so on for another good result here for the team.
Oh, even better than that. I've got Rennie. Let's watch Rennie. Sorry, Stu, we can't find you on the road, but we've got Renshaw in the Cat Bs. So we'll see how he's getting on the Cat Bs. Well done, Cam. That was a good result. We'll get you a result from Zwift Power shortly. We just join Rennie in the Bs.
And once the other guys are finished, I'm sure we'll have a little chat with everybody, see how they've see what their thoughts are on the race.
Let's let you cool down a bit, Cam, first. Yeah.
We'll give them a couple of minutes. We won't do the as they do in the pros. As you cross the line, shove a microphone in your face. We do let people calm down and cool down a bit first.
As we bring up Zwift Power and we see Cam came in 4th on Zwift Power. So I said 5th there, but there's probably one rider that was either DQ'd or not registered with Zwift Power. So that's a fantastic result to come in 4th with those hitters in there. You see Freddie over in 8th. Reese Howers got a mention in our stream. He came 6th. Really good result from those.
Yeah, and I think that's. I think he might be definitely 3 in that A's, if not won it there. Looking at Zwift Power, I'm sure in a few minutes' time, when everyone else is finished, we'll get a clearer idea of the results.
Well, he's got Freddie over. He's beaten Freddie over in his on his CV. So what a result! What a great result. Let's see where Rennie is. cruising along at 286 watts. He's 55th, 11 minutes behind. Stu came in at 25th if he's finished. Currently sitting at 25th. Edgy joins us on the chat and says, "Well done, Rennie, almost there."
Yeah, he's just pootling along there. I see, just taking in the sights of Watopia. So he's having looks like he's having a grand day out. He might finish before it gets completely dark.
Yeah, he's doing his TT. He likes his TT efforts, doesn't he?
He does. Yeah. He's probably stopped to eat a banana and a pear on the way too. So yeah, he likes his he grows his own fruits and vegetables, as Paul. He's got a nice allotment, so he's probably thinking about doing that this afternoon while the ride's in.
Right. Okay, I get the point there. Let's have a look at Zwift Power again, as it's filtered out the A stars and A's now for me. So yeah, we got the A stars of Mads, James Ashcroft, and Andrew Horden taking first, second, and third. And Cam, the only A, first A, definitely. He comes in at fourth in that category. So Cam, are you able to join us on the stream now? If I unmute you, how was that? How was that for you?
Yeah, that was pretty tough. It was quite like tempo on the flat bits. After the initial half hour, it was quite like steady on the flat, then just smashing it over the like the volcano and the other KOMs. It was really tough.
Fantastic.
Yeah, well,
go on, Jordan. Sorry.
First of all, great result there, Betty. How did you find? And the pace was hard all the way through. How did you find that compared to the crit race you did well in the other day?
It's quite different because it's just the crit race is just full on for what was it, 28 minutes, 27 minutes. But this was a lot like, it wasn't even like short, sharp efforts. It was like short 5-minute sessions, just going up the hills and like over the rollers as well. That Titan's Grove, that's really tough because I don't know about anyone else that was in that race, but I'm probably lighter than a few of them. So to keep momentum over them is quite tough. Similar to the rollers in the crit circuit, to be fair as well.
And so how does it feel to be a rider of a Pro Tour team?
Well, he was the one on the front smashing it up the climbs. So especially the reverse KOM. Well, he went off the front and then stopped, kind of thing. He kind of just eased up a lot. But I was actually trying to sit on his wheel in the last like 5k. But then I'm not sure where he went in the sprint, to be honest. I just put my head down. I didn't get an aero boost or any of the power-ups. I got one. I had a feather at some point, but then the last 3 possible times to get a power-up, I got the XP boost instead of any power-ups. It's quite... If I'd have got an aero boost, I would have saved it, but I didn't have the chance.
Yeah, were you pretty confident that you were going to that the group you were in was going to rein in that the lone escapee at the end there, or were you a bit nervous there and tempted to try and bridge across?
Well, I knew I wouldn't be able to bridge across because I think I've got a lot more strength in like a 15-second sprint than a 1-minute effort, 2-minute effort. So there was no point in me jumping off the front as well, trying to catch him. but I actually didn't think that we were going to catch him. I thought that he was going to stay away. With 1K to go, I think he had like 5 seconds on us, and he was like round the corner already of the big roundabout. So I didn't think we were going to catch him, to be honest, but just had to try and smash it last 15 seconds and do what I could do. So everyone around had aero boost, so I was just trying to sit on their wheels.
So you managed that without even having an aero boost. That's super impressive, Cam. That is. What power up did you have at the end?
I didn't have one at the end. I had going over the Titan's Grove reverse, I got XP, and then going over the reverse KOM, I got XP.
Oh no.
So, because either of them, I would have saved whatever I got.
Yeah.
So, and the one I had before that was a feather. Up the top of the volcano, I got a feather, which I used going up Titan's Grove. Which wouldn't have been much help towards the end anyway. So, I'm glad I used it when I did, really.
No, fantastic result, Cam. And Stu, how was it? How was the ride for you, mate?
Yeah, it was good. You know, I'm just like so pleased that I can sort of live with these A's at the moment. You know, for me, it's like I think I've been riding bikes now for about a year and a half, so I'm just happy with the progression and just looking at the results then. I mean, it's absolutely stacked with A pluses. You know, Cam's riding awesome at the moment. And you know, I think I'm 9th A. So yeah, it's a really stacked field. I sort of learnt my lessons from the race I did 2 weeks ago, so tried to incorporate what I learned that time. But man, the pace was high from the start. You know, I actually got dropped on the descent out of Titan's Grove off that KOM. I'm not feeling too well today, so my heart rate was like mid 190s, I think, at the top. And yeah. As you probably see watching, like everyone's absolutely on the rivet, on the down, in the descents as well. So I got dropped, and then yeah, just lived with that group really. Every climb for me was just torture. You know, I was absolutely on the limit on every single climb to stay with that group. But no, overall really happy.
Fantastic, Jordan. Have you got any questions,
mate? Other than that, so once you had lost that group, do you think it was do you try and sprint to get back in, or do you realise then that it was a case of just holding consistent power and more of a time trial effort to finish then?
Yeah, so I think I've learned now sort of where my limit is. I'm 4.4 watt per kilo in a shorter race. That's what Zwift Power has me on at the moment. So I'm kind of bottom A really, or 3/4 of the way down towards the bottom of the A. So I know that I don't want to burn myself completely out at the start. So I've sort of learned how these races flow. You know, as long as you drop with a few others, you'll then get the stragglers that keep dropping. So our group, you know, originally was 3 or 4, and I think it swelled up to 10 at one point. And then sort of each climb we dropped. So it wasn't a time trial effort really. It was kind of very much tempo. I think my heart rate averaged like 175, which is pretty normal for me. So it was definitely a tempo effort. We averaged just under 300 for the race in terms of power. But the thing that the toughest part of the race for me was the volcano KOM, because we had some, looking at it now, we had some A+ riders in that group, and they pulled so hard up that volcano KOM. And I just survived, but then I kept getting dropped on the descent. And that was the point where I was putting maximum sprint efforts to get back into that group. So I had to do it about 4 times. Because if I was going to get dropped there, then that would have been disastrous. So yeah, that volcano was the toughest part. And then the last KOM, last time I did this race, I got dropped up that. So my mission today was not to get dropped, so we survived. But yeah, it's good. Really, I should have tried to have a dig off the front on the finish, because I haven't got much of a sprint on me, so I came last in that sprint, which is a shame. But when you ride at tempo or threshold for the whole time, yeah, I just haven't got enough capacity to then to throw in a big sprint. So my sprint was like pretty pathetic, I think like 800 watts. But hey, that's where we are at the moment. Yeah, well, it is compared to these guys. Yeah, these guys are on another level. So yeah, it was a good race. It's tough. It's got a bit of everything in it. The 4 climbs in it really, really make it tough. But no, it's a good race, and congratulations to Cam, another really awesome effort. It just shows, what the team's capable of doing.
Fantastic. And Stu, you've got a fair deal of experience on Zwift, haven't you? You've been doing it for a little while, but also at the weekend you did an endurance event, did you?
Yeah, so I started Zwift, probably November last year. So I'd only been riding for about 3 months on bikes, having come out of motorsport. So I picked up this sport. So yeah, I've done quite a lot of mileage on Zwift. And yeah, last weekend, I was supposed to be in Mallorca actually this weekend, doing an event over there that I did last year. And I don't know why you think of these little things sometimes overnight, don't you? And I thought, well, why don't I replicate it on Zwift? So that's what I did last weekend. So yeah, it was just over 14 hours in 3 days, 440 kilometers and over 7,000 meters of climbing. So yeah, day one was a biggie, 6.5 hours sat on this thing. I felt it on the end of day one. And yeah, long days, up that Alp to Zwift far too many times for my liking.
Rather you than me. We're just seeing Rennie come over the finish line. He's got a transit van. What do you call that power up?
Oh, it's a draft. It's a draft power up. Yeah, so that's what I had at the end, a draft
Okay.
power up. Did me no favours. I needed a few more of those ones, I think. But yeah.
So Rennie's drafting O Gomez. I'm not sure he's actually sprinting for the finish there. He's quite happy to cruise over slightly behind that O Gomez. So
he's in a big week actually. To be fair to him, he's doing lots and lots of miles. So he's probably a bit knackered today.
fair
Yeah,
enough.
I see his rides on Zwift, and I think, yeah, he's putting some serious distance, that guy, isn't he?
Definitely.
It's when we start work in the morning, and he's been out since 5 o'clock riding. I've literally nearly come into work with the car on 2 wheels, trying to get there on time. Having like literally got 40 minutes of 4.
Yeah, is there a 5 o'clock in the morning? It's certainly not one you want to be on your bike for, but
No. So what's harder then, Zwifting or racing round Brands Hatch and all the other circuits you've raced at?
I'll tell you this because I used to win in motorsport. So this is I guess everything's relative. I mean, the thing about this is I know it's me. It's literally just me. You know, yeah. Even in Zwift, you know, there's different trainers, and obviously with the gamification of it, you can upgrade bikes, and it all makes a slight difference. You know, but at the end of the day, the engine is me, isn't it? And that's the biggest difference. With motorsport, it was a big team event like cycling is, but there's so many variables in it with, you know, cars, setups, engines, and stuff like that. So, yeah, this is definitely a bigger challenge for me. And it's really refreshing. You know, it's kind of filled what could have been quite a big void for me stopping the motorsport. And yeah, it's just great to be involved with Vector Cycling race team, because I feel like I'm part of the team, part of the group of people that want to push forward. And that helps motivation, particularly when we're not actually together. You know, we can't be together at the moment. So to come together on this and race and get smashed by the likes of Cam and stuff like that is pretty good fun.
Yeah, fantastic point there. Yeah, it's filling a large void. We're a race team, aren't we? We want to race together. The only way to do it at the moment is on Zwift, and thankfully that is getting us some good results as well. The likes of Cam and Mac as well, contributing to the team. Hopefully, people taking advantage of the stream that we're doing as well.
Yeah, no, great effort as well, guys. It's good to. I was listening to your commentary all the way around, so it's nice to. It's actually really good to understand where the other guys were in the race as well, and have that motivation. So yeah, it's been really good to be part of it.
Fantastic. Well, thank you very much, gents. I'm not sure when the next stream is. Certainly, my next rest day is going to be Sunday. Whether we do something in the daytime or late on Monday and Tuesday, we'll see. But hang on to our social media there: Twitch, Facebook, Instagram. That's when we'll post when our next stream is, and obviously follow us on YouTube and Twitch. Thank you very much, Jordan, for joining me eventually today. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Thank you for having me, and at least we got to commentate on the finish today.
Yes, I think we did a better job of the finish. Not so good at the start, but there we go. We'll get these ironed out. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Yeah.
Cheers, everyone.
Thank you, everybody watching.
Cheers,
See you all soon.